so that all those people that miss out on this listening party can view it later on YouTube, just so that everybody is aware that that's what we're doing.
And I'd like to say one thing as well, is that Zoom has a lot of limitations when it comes to transferring audio. So the thing is that there's limiters on Zoom, which kind of squashes the sound. Also, everything that you're going to hear, unfortunately, is going to be in mono. So the actual record is this wonderful stereo extravaganza built for headphones and good speakers in your car. So just take that into account. But if you're digging it in mono, you're really going to like it in stereo. So that's just a little disclaimer to start with, and I hope that everybody enjoys what they hear.
Okay, cool. I have the luxury of hearing the whole thing in some phenomenal speakers, and blew my mind. And as we go track by track, the most fun I had through this whole record, Christian, was finding the little Easter eggs that you planted in there. And my guess is I only found about half of them.
That's probably right.
Okay, cool. So I want you to guide me to the rest of the Easter eggs as much as we're going to play. We're not going to play the entire track. I'm going to leave a moment or two toward the end of the track. So, and there are cool things buried in the coda of each track that you're just going to have to buy the record to hear. For all the players at the top, before we get started, does anybody have anything they want to say before we launch into the openings of track 1, Carlisle Wheeling?
Wow, Tim, why don't you play the damn song, man?
Okay, here we go. That's what I'm about to do. All right, here we go. Not if you can hear it. You can't hear it. Down. I'm looking at you, Christian. Down. Okay, good. We're good. Okay.
Then I thought about
manufacture that fade right there. It's a little wicked, but we're not playing the entire track today. Wow, what? I mean, come on. Track 1 grabs you. Oh, Christian, there's so much in there, man. There's so much in there. First of all, tell me about
there's a lot
to have the string arrangement right up top, because when you put the needle down or you hit play on the CD player, what you expect is a wonderful rock and roll album, and you're immediately hit with something completely different and delightful. How'd you get there?
Yeah, start the record with a string quartet. Why not? You know, but I got to first of all just shout out to the incredible players. One of the string players is the upright bassist Ian Walker, and he's playing the orchestral stuff, but he's the guy playing all that amazing stand-up stuff, and he's just the star of that song for me, anyway. And I just chatted in there. That's Alex Jules on the whistle. That was in there. People may know Alex Jules as one of the as a new keyboardist for the Mike and Mickey tour. And let me see what else is the middle Well, Andrew.
Oh, hey, Andrew.
Aww.
Welcome aboard.
Whoa. Okay, so let me just change my view back to gallery. There you go. Just to talk about this song a little bit, the song is basically just 3 stanzas of ideas that Nez put together. It's basically just, like I said, 3 stanzas. And so I wanted to take an opportunity in the middle of the song to sort of have a little sonic soundscape and departure. And so what some of the stuff you hear in there, first of all, there's a little clip from Rio you may hear in there. There's a couple of things that were pulled out of a Nez and Mickey interview that was in there. And there's even some Dolenz grandkids in there. So they provided me with clips from their laughter, and it worked great. So
no, I think your suitcase is on there as well, isn't it?
Okay, well now that's the building of the track. This track sounds closest, I think, to the original, just in as far as arrangement was concerned. But I wanted to spice it up a little bit. But the kick drum that you hear in there, kind of going through the whole thing, that's actually me banging on a banjo case. So that's the kick drum. And then I took a box, a little, just a little cardboard box, and I slid it across the floor. And so that's what you get with the boom. And I kind of just cut that all together, and that was my bed for the rock and roll for the whole sort of rhythm track. And then Cersei provided lovely vocals in the return. The vocals that re-enter are actually mirroring what the string quartet did in the beginning of the song. So that's sort of all your little fun stuff.
Can we tell the story about how a session whistler was brought into the session?
Well, I wanted sort of this is a very happy tune. It's a happy lament. I said that to Nez, actually, and he laughed because he says that's exactly right. So I wanted there to be some joy and like a notion of somebody just kind of walking down the sidewalk and tapping their toes and whistling to themselves. And I needed a good whistler, and I didn't know anybody. I can't whistle. And then Glenn, just like out of the blue.
Christian told me he was looking for somebody who could whistle, and I had heard Alex Jules whistle on a YouTube video somewhere, and I suggested him, and I thought he did a great job. But maybe we can ask Andrew, because Andrew, Carlisle Wheeling, was that an unreleased Monkees tune? It didn't come out till Missing Links, did it?
Right. Yeah. The is my audio on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So the story with Missing Links, the story with Carlisle Wheeling was originally called Situation BT, which I take Situation Bad Trip That was what the original demo was called. And when Christian and I went through to pick the songs to put tracks together for before Mickey came in to sing, we listened to not just the Monkees versions or not just the Nesmith First National Band versions, but we listened to some of Nez's original demos, because in a lot of ways I wanted to sort of say, hey, some of these songs that we have in our mind in one kind of arrangement, let's listen to them at the most stripped down form so that Christian can be the most creative with what arrangements we come up with. So that initially was called Situation BT, and that was written in '67. And then it became Carlisle Wheeling Effervescent Popsicle. That was the first Monkees rendition. And then it later became Conversations when he did it for the First National Band. And it got way slower and longer and drawn out. But Christian kind of went back to the original intent in a way and then dressed it up. And Alex whistling is really an incredible thing, because he did the YouTube video that Glenn saw was from this Love and Spoonful show I did about a year ago here in Los Angeles, and Alex came up and whistled with Mickey because John Sebastian was originally going to do it, and then it just so happened that he couldn't do it at that moment. And I saw Alex, I said, hey, why don't you whistle? And so now his whistling career is born, and now he's on record doing it too.
Yeah. It was the perfect addition, and I was really glad to include him on this record in one way or another, because he's become part of the family. So that was a really great thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very cool. All right, let's move on to the next track. I think everybody's heard this, but enjoy it together. That's the beauty of all this. Track 2, different drum. Can it be heard? It can't be heard.
Louder.
All right, here goes. How's that?
Ooh, slick fade there, Tim.
Hey, thanks, Christian. That means a lot from you. It really does. This song has been a part of Mickey's stage show for a long time. It is. This was a no-brainer to include on the record. Tell me how we got here. Tell me how we got to this track.
We wanted to be very careful careful about which ones we chose. There were a few songs that everybody go, well, you got to do Nez's, biggest things, and got to do Rio, and you got to do Joanne, and it's like, but there are certain songs that are so iconically Nez that it wouldn't really translate. And we definitely knew that we wanted fresh approaches to these songs from the outset. But because this song has been covered a couple times, and because that it's been in Mickey's show with Coco singing it, it felt like it was safe ground. And I think the biggest thing about this song is to address the overall approach, because Nez he's never cared for Linda's version, because in his heart, this song is a sad song. It's we can't make it. This is a breakup. Try as we might, it's not going to work out. So we just got to go our separate ways. And so he has, in different times, represented the song more slow, in a waltz, on a sort of sad tip. And I can see where Linda's version with the harpsichord and the sort of the la-di-da-ness of it kind of missed the mark. However, the song itself has got it's in a major key. It's got a happy, user-friendly melody, and so because of that, it was I still felt that we needed to approach it in a way that honored the melody and honored the chord changes, but give it a little bit of tooth, a little bit of grit, and so. So I went with more of a kind of a Byrds sort of straight up jangle approach.
Right.
And for the decorative instrument, chose harmonica because that seemed like kind of like an earthy, kind of in your face, not la-di-da instrument. And as you can hear, it worked out great. That's a cat named Alex Uren, and he's playing harmonica, did a fantastic job. Also, the first time that you hear Christopher Alice, who is a longtime member of our world and also did the First National Band tours. He's playing anywhere you hear a drum kit, that's Christopher Alice, and he just did a fantastic job.
He is amazing throughout this entire thing, man.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, Mickey's vocals on this song are some of the best I've heard in years. He sounds like a 20-year-old, and some of that is thanks to you, Cersei, as well. Cersei's background vocals are amazing, and they really help Mickey shine on it.
Oh, maybe I'm not the first one to invent this phrase, but the wall of Cersei.
Cersei.
Yeah, is just the sweetener all the way through this already glorious track. It's fantastic.
Well, I come from the world of Beatles and Queen and Journey and those really beautiful sparkling background vocals that were created not just to be another set of vocals, but almost like string parts or horn parts, stuff that added to the arrangement, not just as a vocal, but as an instrument. And we've been doing that on our records for a long, long time. And, Cersei just sang the ever-loving out of it. So there you go.
Wowie.
Christian, you play a lot of the instruments on the record too.
I'm playing all the
crazy
guitars and all the bass. Playing all the guitars and all the bass, and some incidental, a little bit of vocals, probably
keyboards, a little bit of keyboards.
Of the keyboards,
yeah.
And then the rest of any of the stunt keyboard works is the legendary Jim Cox. So yeah,
so that jangly Birds, is that actually a Rickenbacker 12-string that you're playing?
No, actually that's this guy.
Get out. Oh wow. Okay.
So an 18th string.
Karen Raven Starr has got a mouth like, holy crap, that's amazing. Yeah. I don't know if you guys know, I do a Zeppelin thing on the side, and you got to have one. But you guys on tour play this thing. And this is the 12-string guitar, which she got for me. So there you go. Thank you.
Welcome.
But to me, I don't know if you agree, Andrew, but to me that sounds like, different drum. This version of different drum could easily have been on Good Times. it's got that sort of sound to it.
Yeah, I would agree, Glenn. I think that the record, how we planned it out was one thing, but how it actually presented itself or realized in the final bake has been really kind of wonderful, because it is a really nice successor to Good Times stylistically. It takes all the really great elements of that, and it's contemporary without being overly contemporary, and it's not overly retro. It sits in that really sweet spot that Good Times did, and that's why I'm so pleased with the final outcome.
Shaw.
That
Do you think I can introduce Mickey Dolenz?
No,
I got no problem
I
with
wanted to
that.
do that.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. If everybody would like Mickey to join, I can push admit right now.
You know him as the voice of Pete the Puck on NHL for Today in 1970. Ladies and gentlemen, Mickey Dolenz.
And where is he? I don't see him. Where is he?
he's gone.
He's gone.
Gone.
Everybody
He's
dance with
gone.
me.
Wait, did
Well-
you really? There he is. Wait a minute.
Earth,
Oh, there he is.
Earth calling Glenn. Earth.
Hi, Mickey. How are you?
Hey, wow, what a crowd.
There's
We got a good deal on your cameo. If we all chipped in, we could gather that. We figured for your record, we could, do something special.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. Hi. Wow, how cool. I have an arrow here. Oh my gosh, there's more and more and more.
Yeah, there's about 51 of us here, Mickey.
They would say hi to you, Mickey, but unfortunately, we told them all they can't speak.
No, you do the Death Dish one. Everybody wave hi to Mickey. Come on. Say yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Wow.
So we've been
Oh,
going.
I'm getting little messages down.
Of course you are. They're
Excuse me,
chatting
here.
away.
That's cool. Every little hi, everybody. Hi. Wow.
We've been playing a couple of songs from the album, and I think we just played different drum. And,
Excellent.
Yeah, we're ready to play "Don't Wait for Me." If Mickey, you wanna hang out and listen to your work.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
watch
Yeah.
50 little Brady Bunch heads bop around to this record. So here we go.
Great.
I'm seeing you, Christian.
Don't wait for me, I'll be a long time coming, unless by then you have told me something that shows how much you care.
Who's that
I've
singing?
done much more than
Not
ever
sure.
man
Yeah,
I
not sure.
should have. Why did you not do all
Yeah, I'm not getting much volume either. I'm getting.
how much
Okay.
you care?
Can you turn up the output?
Yes. Keep an eye on Christian.
Over and again, I wonder,
that's
was I
better.
wrong? I keep thinking I maybe should have come along. There comes a time in every man's life when he must be strong, and my time's come. And if you're gone, then I guess I'll cry and hold to memories of what might have been. And when I finally leave, that'll show how much I care. Over and again, I wonder, was I wrong? I keep thinking I maybe should have come along. There comes a time in every man's life when he must be strong, and my time's come. And if you're gone, then I guess I'll cry and hold to memories of what might have been. And when I finally
I
leave,
got a fade here. Sorry, it's so much.
Wow.
I'm on
Great. Well done, Christian.
Yeah, really. I mean, I'm watching 50 little heads on one screen, Bop, and then on a bigger screen to the right, I'm watching Mickey sing and dance to his own record and loving every minute of it, because this is such. I mean, this record, like you said, Mickey, this is Christian just blew it out of the water, but dude, so did you. I mean, this is we were talking about what a great 1-2 punch this record is with Good Times, and everyone has said how amazing your vocals are on Good Times. This particular track, since you're here, man, and I don't know how long you're going to be, tell me your thoughts on this track.
Well, I love all the tracks. I especially like the way that Christian what I call re-envisioned these songs. I mean, I don't know if you've already talked about this, but when I first pitched it to Glenn, and he said, we love the idea. And we talked about producers. And of course, Christian's name was right at the top of the list. But of course, the concern for me was always that I know these songs so well for 50 years right now. Not quite that long, yeah. 50 years. So many of them, for 50 years. That it's real tough to imagine, how to re-envision a song. And when Christian and I had our first conversations, if I know these songs for
Sure.
50 years, Christian knows them since the crib.
Literally his entire life.
Literally.
Yeah, right. Yeah, literally. And, we talked about it, and he started noodling around when we decided to pull the trigger, and he started noodling around and sending me little noodles and ideas, and and then re-ideas, and I I backed off, pretty early on after Christian, Andrew, and I had sort of decided on a short list of tunes that we felt we could address, and Christian obviously felt that he could address, and because we all agreed we did not want to do a karaoke cover version
Right.
of all these tunes, which you can. They're great tunes, and a lot of people have, of course. But we kind of mutually agreed that we want to try and do something, and it's tough. It's really tough to do that, especially with extremely well-known material. I mean, you think about how many Beatle tunes have successfully been covered and made hits. I mean, the only person that comes to my mind is Joe Cocker. There are probably others, but those are the
Right.
a couple of his attempts were just brilliant. And when Christian said he wanted to tackle like Circle Sky, I was like, how the hell do you do Circle Sky except the way that it was done? And I know I could never have re-envisioned that. I sang the damn thing for so many years.
Yeah, right.
And when I heard Christian's take on it, I was just blown away. I said, where did you get this from? Where did this come from?
Don't give away the secret yet, Mickey.
You haven't played that one?
No, but that's almost a great intro to just break sequence and play it now.
Let's do it.
I mean, really,
And then
I'm really
Man.
pleased with.
let me finish Mickey's story. Is that I had been kicking around that song for a while, trying to figure my way into it, and basically it's kind of a one chord song. The whole thing, except for the little break for the chorus, it's just one chord. And Cersei walked into this room that we're sitting in one day, and she said, "Why don't you make it an Indian raga?" I was like, zoinks! My head exploded. And I was like, that is the most amazing thing I've ever heard. And it's not.
Yay, Cersei.
Yeah, it was absolutely Cersei's idea. And it wound up not being sort of like mellow, like Within You, Without You, but a little more of a combination of Eastern or Indian and also Middle Eastern approaches. There's even some taiko drums that represent Japan in there. So it's a very international feeling song with the orchestra. And then that's all I'll say about it. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Let's play.
yeah, absolutely. Here we
Probably
go.
gonna need to turn the master volume down though. 'cause
Well,
it's pretty-
careful. Yeah, watch it.
pretty
All
loud.
right, I'm
I just
watching
want to ask this particular track. Don't Wait for Me. I think was on instant replay.
Right.
And Andrew, you said you found an original demo version of it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true. The one on instant replay is "Don't Wait for Me."
That's
It's
really
much
cool.
slower, as most people here know. And the original demo that Nez did in '65 was the tempo that more or less Christian hit with this new arrangement that he did for Mickey. But Christian stripped it down even more and really brought out the beauty of the song. And I think people hadn't really heard it or haven't heard it in the same way. So, but here again, I think we're setting up Circle Sky now, right?
But Mickey said play it, so man, it's his show. I'm playing it. Here we go.
Okay.
want to go first. I want to go first.
Go, man, go.
I want to go first because I have to say, Rebecca, your reaction. I'm just watching you dance around your kitchen, and you're listening, and your face and your smiles, and it's just, that is worth every bit of it. I can see you, and it's just rocking my world. Thank God.
And just having a ball. And man, I am so glad. I've had I've been listening to the entire album for about a month now, and man, I played it through every set of speakers that I have, and my neighbors have been listening to this record whether they like it or not. And this this has been just so much fun to listen to. And this one for the fans, Mickey, is really interesting because it gives us the barometer. We've got a track with your vocals on it from the 60s, from Justice and this, and I'm watching everybody say, you know, his voice sounds as good as it did in 66. Dude, I would almost go better. As a voice actor, you're right, I'm responsible for my voice. How'd you do it, man? How do you keep your voice in such great shape? You know,
It's simple. There's a voice up in the attic getting older.
All right. Okay.
Voice of Dorian Gray. Well, that's a good question. You know, it is quite simple. First of all, I think a lot of any muscular activity in voice, singing is essentially muscular. I mean, it's your vocal cords are muscles, and so there's probably some genetics in there. My mom and dad were both singers, you know, so and actors, but both singers. My father sang light opera, and mom sang big band stuff. So there's probably a little bit of genetics. As in most sports, you know, you hear about people that are they have a golfer's physique,
Right.
let's say, or they're built for, I don't know, tennis or football or basketball or whatever. So there's a little bit of that, and then there's training. And I never trained
Never?
as a kid, or
Oh,
even
yeah.
during the Monkees.
Right.
I guess I was just blessed with, you know, tubes that and an ear that, you know, could most of the time stay in pitch. But then when I started doing musicals,
Right.
way back in 2000 and something, my manager said it was a musical called Aida, the Elton John Tim Rice musical, and it was on Broadway and the national tour. And I had 2 or 3 big songs, full voice, you know, cover, you know, solo things on stage all by myself 8 times a week. And, you know, I said, well, you know, I've done a lot of touring. I've done a lot of shows where I sing, you know, all the time. And she said, it's not the same. Yeah, the covered tones and the full voice and the head tones and so I said, okay. And so she sent me to a wonderful vocal coach out here called Eric Vitro. And I started not only training, but it was more warming in, you know, learning how to warm up and learning how to do your scales. It's like a guitar player or a piano player, you know, you spend most of your time doing your scales to get those muscles in shape, or like a tennis player. You wouldn't go out and play the singles at Wimbledon cold, you know, not having hit a ball for a month. You know, you got to get your muscles in shape, and you got to get warmed up, and you got to have control over all the tones and the half tones and the head tones and the falsetto, you know, all that. So I put a lot of it down recently to those lessons and that training, and I do it to this day. Before I go into a session, you know, I'll do 20 minutes of scales and stuff like that, and I also take care of myself physically. I also go to my ENT regularly, and I, you know, control acid reflux, or, you know, and I'm careful, you know. I'm very careful that I don't, scream well, whatever. So
Yeah.
it's a combination, basically, a long answer to your question. It's a combination of all that stuff.
If I may,
Yes.
having toured with Mickey now for the last, whatever it is, 7 years, first of all, you guys got to know that he sings all the songs from the 60s in the original keys,
Yeah.
all of them. All right. So that's to start with. But knowing that range was available to us, that was part of the decision on how to go about this record. And I really wanted to make sure that we took advantage of that signature iconic Mickey Dolenz high range. So we really pushed you here on a couple of those tunes, Mickey, and I'm glad that we did. He stood right in this room, and all the vocals that were recorded in this room, and standing right here off to my left, and just slayed it. Just was really, really amazing to see that happen right here next to me. But thank God that you have taken care of your voice, because it lent just an amazing quality to this whole record that I don't think other older artists would have been able to contribute. So
No, I like
Well,
too
thank
that the Mickey has the famous whispering subtle voice that they always called in the 60s, the whispering Mickey Dolenz voice. But you get that whole range too on the record. You get the more subtle Mickey, and then the real high strident Mickey, which is just brilliant. I mean, that's it's really
Well,
nice
thank
to
you.
hear the full range of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mickey,
I do have a high range. I don't have much of a range. I worked a lot on my lower part of my range when I had to do these musicals, for instance, because some of the parts that I did, they were actually for like baritones and stuff, that because I played bad guy or I played, some whatever. And so I do have a high range. In fact, there's one tune that we did where I sing so high only dogs can hear me, but we figured there wouldn't be a lot of puppies buying the CDs. So we scratched that tune.
the puppy demographic.
Puppy demographic. Yeah, I love it. They're big fans. They're big fans, but we didn't include that one.
We took it
must
down.
have- you
We
must
did
have
that
been
as a
surprised.
separate release.
Yeah, we took
You
it
must
to
have been
Animal Planet,
surprised
and they didn't want to do it.
when you heard the demo for this Circle Sky, this version of Circle Sky. You must have been surprised, because we had this sort of fear to begin with. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do it differently? And this sure is different, isn't it? I mean, it's
a great one.
Is it
But
Run
all of them,
Wagner? Run
virtually
Wagner?
everyone. Sorry, virtually everyone. Like I said, has been reimagined, re-envisioned, and not over the top. Like not trying to make a statement. Oh, we're really gonna mess around with this tune. It wasn't like that at all.
It was just what needed to be said. I mean, if the approach revealed itself naturally and artistically, then I just ran with it, and it worked out great. I think that probably Circle Sky is the one that steps the farthest away of all the original arrangements. But I think it was a home run. It really came out great.
No kidding.
I think the rap version of Joanne that we fooled around with.
The hip hop one that we did, that maybe we'll release that later. But,
Later, separate. It'll be an EP.
Mhm.
Well, Joanne's a good example. We talked about it, and I just said, how do you do that song without the yodeling? It's just, there were songs like that, and others, big Nesmith tunes, but. Like I say, it was down mainly to Christian to say, I think that this one we can pull off.
And so you did. Why don't we go on to track 4? Keep On, which is
This is my favorite. This is my favorite song on the record.
mine too. Here
This
it is.
is really one of mine too, boy. I'll tell you.
I got a fade, but man. Okay, so I think that's a resounding favorite, Mickey. Everybody is jamming. Everybody's playing air drums. Everybody's just crushing it on this, and it's a beautiful track. It's as I was listening to it, I'm like, this is like my grandmother's spaghetti sauce. There's a million things in it, and everything is delicious. You know what I mean? The drums, the keys throughout just like make the hair on my arm stand up. It's so good.
Yeah.
And it
Great tune.
like you sound like you're having fun through the whole album, Mickey, but on this one, like there's like a little extra heart in this one for some reason. Maybe I'm hearing something that's not there, but holy moly, you crush this.
No, I'm a good actor. I was hating every minute of it. It was
Hey, Tim,
no, it was just miserable.
Tim, I want to ask Mickey real quick. So I got the new shirt.
Oh yeah.
Mickey, can you tell us, for those who don't know, how this album cover came to be?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Excuse me. Oh.
Yeah, nice voice, Mickey.
Back in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, my dearest friend at the time, as many people know, was a singer-songwriter called Harry Nilsson. And he did an album called Nilsson Sings Newman. And Randy Newman, because he was a fan of Randy Newman, so was I. And I was there, I went to some of the sessions and hung out, and I always thought it was a great idea. And it just bubbled around, sorry, yeah. And it bubbled around for, decades. And Mike and Peter and I were rehearsing up at Nez's. God, how many years ago would it have been? It was after Davey passed, and we were putting together a tour. And I just said to Nez, I always wanted to do a Dolenz Sings Nesmith. And he said, well, I like that idea. I'll give you some tunes. And I left it at that, really, because we went on a road and then another tour and then this and that and whatever. And then Glenn asked me, I guess a couple of years ago now or whatever, do you have anything you want to do, an original project? And I said, yeah, I've wanted to do Dolenz Sings Nesmith. And he said, I think I like that idea. And that was the start. And I told him the story of Nilsson Sings Newman. And so when it came around for album art cover time, I went to Andrew Sandoval, actually, and I said, because I didn't remember who had done the album cover. And Andrew blew my mind by saying, you do know him. His name is Dean Torrance. And if you look at Nilsson Sings Newman, the album cover, ours is intentionally reminiscent. And I said, oh my God, I know Dean, of course, from Jan and Dean. And Jan, after the accident, came on the road with us on the first tour as kind of therapy. And so I knew Dean over the years. And then I find out, of course, Andrew reminded me that Dean had also done album covers for Mike Nesmith and the First National Band. Mm-hmm. So I was like, whoa, well, that's serendipitous. And I knew Seren very well, serendipitous. Mm-hmm. And so that was it. I just said, this is, too good to be true. So we went to Dean and picked his brains and got some artwork. And then it just came together really, 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 really well.
Well, we love the album cover, and Jody's shirt is Jody, how do we get the shirt?
We go to mickeydolenz.com, and at the top it will say store, and that's the official store. It does take you to eBay, so don't worry, that's correct. You'll be able to get the album, the CD, you'll be able to get it autographed, not autographed, but more importantly, you'll be able to look exactly like Mickey does when he's gardening, wearing this shirt.
So Tim, if I can just
Yes.
finish the story about the cover.
Please.
So Dean Torrance did some drafts for us and pointed us in the right direction. And we basically, our designer, Tim Johnson, then went ahead and started doing different visuals for us. And we played around with it and tried a few different things before we finally ended up with the sleeve that we got now. But Tim has done a lot of the work for 7A over the years. And,
Yeah, he did a great job on this. We had, as you say, we had a couple of different ideas. At one point, I was going to try to get the original car with Harry and Randy Newman in the car, in the background of the album. But then we decided that's going to probably be too much to deal with in terms of rights of this and rights of that and stuff like that. But I think it came out great. I'm really, really happy with the cover.
Yeah, it kind of ended up a lot like the production style of the album, in which we started out with the basic original idea, went back to its source. We went to Dean, we talked to him, we got his blessing, he gave us some ideas, and then we went and it got re-envisioned in a way too. So originally we had ideas for putting Easter eggs in the cover. We're going to put flying saucers and you know, Davy and Peter and all kinds of other clues and things. And then, you know, I know Mickey and I had these long discussions, like maybe it takes away from the record a little bit to make it so much of an homage to something else. We're really kind of, this is its own thing. And now the cover is its own thing and the album is its own thing. So we hit our goal, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's really, as you say, I mean, it really speaks to the tone of the music too.
It really
purple with like an orange sky. That's the music.
There you go.
Just like the billboard.
That's awesome. Let us.
But just to return to that last song you played, Keep On.
Yeah.
Christian, I really like that. The radio, was it a radio voice you put on, or was it Mickey's voice coming through an amp at some point?
On the verses, I ran his voice through a Leslie, which is the spinning speaker that you use for a Hammond B3 organ.
That's a great effect.
So, I tried to while keeping his voice very Mickey Dolenz. All over the record, I've processed his voice in various different ways to make it lend to the color of the song and just to be sort of a new and different approach. So there's places where his voice is run through a guitar amp, and so it's kind of distorted, and there's places where it sounds like a radio, and it's just, you know, all kinds of fun stuff.
To me, that you know, the Leslie voice thing is reminiscent of Michael Nesmith's St. Matthew, what he did for the Monkees that never came out. So I hear all the, you know, it's nice to hear all these things carried over. They're not intentional, but, you know, Christian picks up all these other little cues from different places. And then, you know, with my Monkees hat on, I always think like, wow, that kind of fits in to this thing or that thing. So it's great.
I actually took that cue from a song by Yes called And You and I. So there you go.
The Days of Pearly Spencer. That's another one, isn't it? Who was that?
David McWilliams.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's play another track. Here comes Marie's theme.
Her only remark was a closing remark that one sometimes hears between friends. She began to emerge without speaking a word into something quite different from him. For she usually would start where he usually would stop, and then blissfully wade right on through. Still the ideas unfolded in their perfect array, only hinting at what lay beyond them, hidden behind all the logic one finds without truth. I recall how a carnival beginning to blossom and grow, as yet still unspoken, but with more than a token reminder of times yet to go, and the frequent suggestion is that time is the question, and not so much which one
They're
you
clustered with what they might hear.
Still ideas will unfold in their perfect array, only hinting at what lay beyond them, hidden behind all the logic one finds without truth. Hidden behind all the logic one finds without truth.
There you go. Marie's theme. You really get a sense. Mickey, you were talking about your Broadway training, and there's a lot of Broadway in this, mixed in with that gorgeous pedal steel. Man, glorious choices all the way around, guys. Tell me, I hate to keep repeating the same question, but I'm fascinated by the creation of this record.
Well,
I am too. I'm still kind of fascinated. But and I say, and like I say, I don't mind, telling it after Andrew and Christian and I sort of got the short list, and my attitude has been the last number of albums I've done, including Good Times, that wonderful Adam with the dear Adam Schlesinger. And before that, when I did King for a Day with Jeffrey Foskett, or I did Remember with David Harris, I'm not a producer, and I'm not a songwriter really. I've written a few things, but I'm not a prolific songwriter. And I just decided I'm going to be Frank Sinatra, going into the studio with Nelson Riddle or Quincy Jones. I'm just going to go in and friggin' sing the stuff. And that's been my attitude for a while. So when I hear this stuff myself all put together, I'm just as blown away. I got to get out of here, I'm afraid, pretty soon. But before I go, could we jump ahead? I would like to play the one tune I can think of that I actually did have some some input on. And that's 9 Times Blue. Christian had sent me a little noodling demo of it. And I don't know how it happened. I was just wandering around or in the shower or something. And I just had this idea of doing the 9 Times Blue in, again, a pretty different way. I pitched it to Christian, and he obviously liked it because he signed off on it, and we did it. Could we just play that one little bit?
Whatever you want.
Let me just talk to you, Tim. Are you playing this off a QuickTime player or off
Should I play it on something else?
Well, if you can play it off something where it's in a playlist, because this segues into the next tune. So if you get to the end of 9 Times Blue, it'll just slice. The file will just slice.
Okay. Well, I was gonna.
If you can't, just go for it. But this is the segue is otherwise it'll sound really awkward and sound. Why did it just stop? Is because it's actually butted up against the next tune.
No, I was gonna fade it early. So
just give him a taste.
Just play a bit of 9 Times Blue, and everybody can,
as you wish.
There's a certain something in the way you looked at me and said you'd stay that let me know that I was out of line. But I didn't know what else to do, and like a fool I tested you by demanding things of you that weren't mine. And now I feel like such a fool for making you crawl back to me. But you did it with such love that you're standing far above me and all I did to you. I'm sorry now. What can I do? I know that never in the world could I have found me such a girl who's there to pick me up before I fall. So if in the end we should go both our separate ways, I know the lesson I've learned here is worth it all. I've known the lesson I've learned here is worth it all.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Great.
hate to fade it on the wall of Circe, but wow, Mickey, wow.
That's a great. Yeah, that was really good. Jim on the piano was really.
That was
brilliant.
Jim Cox on piano.
Yeah.
And here's one thing that was interesting about it is that we booked a session in a proper studio so we could have that beautiful grand piano and mic up his organ, and it was a keyboard day. But because we had thought about this, we made sure that we had a microphone ready to go. And so what you hear is actually Jim and Mickey in a live pass. I think we got the 6th or 7th take was the one, and but that's just both of those guys right from the hip, live all the way down, no punches, no weirdness, just two guys playing you a song, and it really comes across.
Yeah, that was a good one. Well, listen, folks, I got to run. But thank you so much. Thank you so much
Mickey.
for supporting this. Thank you so much, Christian, Glenn, Tim, everybody. Andrew, you still there? Gosh, how wonderful. Really cool. Mark, thanks so much.
Well, thank you, Mickey.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you on the road. I'll see you in St. Louis.
I'll see you in St. Louis. It's a movie like that.
Yeah, true.
Great. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye,
very much.
Mickey.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Jody. Thank you,
Bye.
Jody.
Bye.
There you go, folks.
There you have it.
Jody, one more time, MickeyDolenz.com is the place to get the shirt, and free shipping in May. Is that right?
Free shipping in May, which actually,
Hey, that'll work.
yeah, well, on eBay, a lot of times the shipping is so much money that I find that I don't actually purchase stuff because it's $9 to ship a shirt. So that's a big difference if you get it this month. So I mean, how can you beat that? I mean, you have a little bit of Mickey, a little bit of Mike.
Save.
That's right. And Glenn, can you talk about how, for those of us who haven't pre-ordered, how do those in the States and how do those abroad?
Yeah, there's quite a few. There's quite a few options. MickeyDolenz.com. You can get a signed, autographed LP and CD. I think they also have a non-autographed version. But you've also got a choice of deepdiscount.com, the cheapest one, importcds.com, and Amazon, of course. So you can get it in pretty much every web store. And it's released next Friday on the 21st.
There you go. Now
On CD and on vinyl with beautiful blue vinyl
That's
record.
correct. Turquoise vinyl, 180 gram,
Yeah.
and digital as well.
So get it wherever you get your records. All right. I'm gonna fade into Little Red Rider. Yes.
Just before we go, before we get off Marie's theme,
Yeah.
and I'm not to sound creepy or anything, but I was watching Andrew Sandoval during that. And Andrew, I've just got to check. Your head was down. Were you reading along to a copy of The Prison as Marie's theme was playing?
No, but I'll tell you something that Christian and I had a lot of philosophical discussions about how to represent Nez's song catalog and do a good job. And I listened through the hundreds of Nez demos and songs. And then Christian and I had a sort of online meeting where we listened to stuff together. And it was, how do we represent The Prison? And what's interesting about that was that Marie's theme was actually done for Ranch Stash originally, and then was put into the prison. We also thought about Dance Through the Raindrops, and we had a long list of things and went through many things, and it was agonizing to say, oh, we're going to have this on or not have this on. But the bottom line was we got in a lot of good stuff, and you know, it came together really nicely. But it was tough. We listened to a lot of the later Nez records to see what would fit. But these songs just kind of fit together. We were looking conceptually at the album rather than let's just try and represent what everybody wants out there. Somebody online wants to hear him do this song. Somebody here, we're like, let's make a good album. Let's not worry about all that stuff, you know?
Because if you ask, somebody's going to want to hear every song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to want to hear every song. So what was the hardest fought battle, guys?
Well, for me, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't influenced by any of that. I understood that everybody's going to have all their, want to hear their song and that song and this song, and the moment you try to please everybody, you please nobody, and particularly you don't honor the art, So I sort of stayed away with that. But about Marie's theme specifically, it was important to me because, first of all, I think it's a beautiful song. It also carries the core message of what the prison is all about. Which is amazing. It also was the right place to put pedal steel guitar. And, because Red Roads was such an enormous part of what Nez did as a body of work, we had to be real careful about how not to sound like we were just aping that stuff. And at the same time, it was absolutely essential that we made a nod to that because of how important Red's contribution to Nez's world was. So to have Pete Finney, who's been part of our world now for the last 3 or 4 years, between First National Band and then on the last 2 Monkees tours, he just as you can hear, just gave us the absolute perfect thing to take that and nod to what a pedal steel guitar is in the whole world of Nez. So there you go.
Oh shit.
Oh, let's Tara, it's a family-friendly show. Let's fade into Little Red Rider and go from there. I'm not doing the album justice by fading in and out of this. The transition is gorgeous, but I got to do what I got to do.
No, that's cool. The rockin'est song on the record.
Yeah, wrong.
Railroad
I was driving my car.
Oh, sorry.
I was driving in my car talking to Christian on the phone.
Yeah.
Like I usually catch him on the phone when I'm driving. And we were talking about this song, and we were going over the different arrangement ideas, and I said, well, what about something like, because Nilsson is such a big overarching theme in Mickey's life, what about something like Jump Into the Fire? And that's how Christian went along the path towards Deep Purple.
Wow. See,
Harry Nilsson's Jump Into the Fire has got one of the greatest opening bass lines ever in the whole history of ever. And so, yeah, Andrew hit that right on the head. And when I compared, sort of the chords and melody of Little Red Rider to that, it just worked. It should be said that originally on Magnetic South, it's actually a triptych. It goes Calico, 9 Times Blue, Little Red Rider. But we left off Calico because Calico is one of those songs that is so intrinsically Nez that it just, you got to know which songs are going to translate into more of a broader approach, and that allows for Mickey to get there. And also those chord changes and the way the guitar is, and it's such a signature thing. So we just went and made it from a triptych to a diptych, and that's how that worked.
It suits
For me,
Mickey
this has
better
got
too.
some of the best drumming from Christopher Ellis on this particular track. I think is
Yeah,
amazing. I mean, he's been great on the whole album.
It's slaying on this on the song.
Cool. There's actually a question from the group. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend Marty Ross has a question for Christian. Marty
Ross.
No, I'm just a copy. So this is I want to congratulate.
Goddamn clones.
Yeah, 35-year-old problem. But congratulations on the album. That's just awesome. I had a question for you guys about what you do when you're done with all the songs. How many times did you guys discuss song order, and how did that come out to be? Particularly Different Drum is the second song. I mean, is that a kind of a thing, knowing every one of these songs seems like it's placed in a really, really great place, but was there any other song list order first?
Oh, I got to tell you, and this is much to the chagrin of Glenn, that I beat him over the head with my song order. I was very, very passionate about the song order that was starting to evolve. And it just came about because I saw, as I was listening, because I listen to them all the time as the album is progressing. I start tacking the new one, the latest one that I finished on, and sort of fooling around in it, and it made that much sense. And I definitely did not want to open with Different Drum because it's just too obvious. Everybody's gonna, oh yeah, open with the hit. No. We can wait for it. They can wait one song, and so that's why that is. But Glenn and Andrew were very helpful in making sure that the final order, a couple of things were moved here and there, and I had to acquiesce to their good wisdom on the whole. And but yeah, I was a little headstrong when it came to the order of this record, and for the most part, it was my original thing. But their ideas were better, and I'm glad that they stuck to their guns.
It is a very difficult thing because if you ask 10 people, you get probably 10 different ideas of what is the perfect running order. But in the end, we ended up with something that we were all pleased with. So
I think we're all happy at the end of it, and that's what's important. But it's primarily Christian's running order, really. With a few little tweaks that Glenn and I twisted Christian's arm, and he twisted our arm back the other way, and we went. But that's the creative thing. We had a good time making the record in that sense because we all had some little part to play in it, and a
lot of passion in making this record from the beginning to the end. Yeah.
I think it was Mark who pointed out that putting the single second on the track is a good, strong tradition for these albums, and an excellent touch.
But it wasn't really intentional because I wasn't sure what the single was going to be. I thought long and hard about it, and I asked both Christian and Andrew, and in the end we ended up with what are possibly the two most commercial tracks on the album, but it could have been a number of other tracks, to be honest, because there are quite a few contenders on there to be a single.
Yeah,
It's a strong album. I don't think there's any weak tracks that we ended up with, and that's part of what the running order thing was to get it to be kind of perfect, as perfect as possible, and weed out anything that wasn't rising to the level of being the best thing. So we kind of got there, I think.
I think that's the consensus of the group. Let's move on to track 8, Tomorrow and Me.
Oh,
yes, Christian.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say this was the song that Mickey was referring to about really reaching for some of his highest range. There you have it.
All right, cool. Here we go.
I've forgotten how long I've been sitting here, watching my reflection in a disappearing mirror. The loneliness is so thick, you can slice it. The emptiness is too much for me to fight it. And while tomorrow must be met, it seems that life's become a jewel that dimly gleams from its perch atop a ring that's slightly out of round, casting the reflection of a crying clown. Oh, the closeness is gone. Still, the memory lives on. The distance now is growing as the highway sings, changing the complexion and the scheme of things. As the world begins to turn, I feel the time has come to accept apparent loss as a battle won. And with that in mind, I close my eyes and kiss your cheek, push the loneliness aside and stand on shaky feet, then reimplant the smile that never really leaves. Gently place my heart back on my sleeve. Oh, the closeness is gone. Still, the memory lives on. The distance now is growing as the highway sings, changing the complexion and the scheme of things. As the world begins to turn, I feel the time has come to accept apparent loss as a battle won. And with that in mind, I close my eyes and kiss your cheek, push the loneliness aside and stand on shaky feet, then reimplant the smile that never really leaves. Gently place my heart back on my sleeve. Oh, the closeness is gone. Still, the memory lives on.
I so hate to fade these out, man, especially with the walls of Mickey and Cersei, and I believe you,
That's
Chris.
actually all Mickey.
Is it?
Yep.
Fantastic, man. let's talk. First of all, let's talk about the string arrangement, which really makes this.
Well, there's no actual strings as a combo.
Right.
But aside from Mickey Dolenz, there's only two words to be said about this song, and it's Charlie Bisharat. He's the violin player, and he's unbelievable. He's done several songs for Circe and I've worked with him in other contexts, and he is just, as you can tell, so soulful and just brings the exact right thing to the party. So yeah, Charlie Bisharat, amazing.
Yeah, a soulful. There's really, that's the best word. That's the best word for this cut. Andrew, Mark, Glenn, anything to add to the conversation on this, guys? Seriously?
Well, one question I just want to ask, kind of the elephant in the room. Maybe this could go to Christian or to Glenn. What does your dad think of the album, Christian?
He's listened to it several times, and you got. I mean, you got to take that one with a little bit of room for him, because these are his babies, his creation, and to see them realized, because we all know how passionate he is about his own craft, his own art, and clearly, when you listen to the original versions of these songs, the artistic statement is significant. It is not without every effort that an artist can put into it. So, it's like if somebody comes along and redresses your child, what I mean? Let me put your kid in some new clothes, or renames your child or whatever it is. So there was a little bit of that, but after he took a few runs at it, he was really pleased with it. And he saw how our approaches to these songs really did the songs justice, and showed that his writing on the whole is much more universally user friendly, if you will, and by other artists. So I hope that maybe this will be an encouragement to other singer songwriters and artists to go look into Nez's category, because there's some great catalog, and there's some great songs to be had in there. Go do a cover. Want to hear what your take on it?
Well, you talk about his writing. I mean, for me, that song we just heard was some of the best writing, in my opinion. I mean, from his creative peak. I mean, a really, really good song. And Charlie Bisharat, as you say, was amazing on that track. And I remember when Christian first told me, I really like to hire this violin player to play on some of the songs, and I thought that's going to be interesting. But I Googled him, and I heard some of his other work on YouTube, and I was really looking forward to hearing what he could do with this song, and very, very pleased with how it came out.
Having worked with him in the past, I knew that he was going to nail it. So,
I just saw Jody. Jody, you've got a question. Are you?
Yeah, Christian, I have a question for you. Was this record originally supposed to be done when COVID hit, or like, how did COVID affect the making of this, or delaying it, and also, has this changed at all the way that you personally think you will be able to make music now that you see how you're able to do this during a pandemic?
Well, I got the call from Mickey. I mean, apparently Glenn and Andrew and Mickey had already been talking a little bit and trying to decide if who they wanted to produce it. And I had actually expressed interest in, I remember being backstage or on the bus or somewhere, and Mickey said, yeah, I want to do Dolenz Sings Nesmith. And I immediately said, I'll produce that record.
Yeah,
I'll do that. So we got we were already a few months into, if not like, what was it, July maybe, or August that we got
August, I think, yeah.
Was it August? I got the first call. God, wow, we made that record quick, man. And so I got the call. So we were well within the confines of COVID. But the thing is that so many of the things that you've heard Circe and I do, have been recorded in this room right here. I mean, this is just our little second bedroom in our apartment, and with the right gear and the right way to approach it, you can go a long way. But we did know that we were going to have to do real drums and get into a proper studio, so in the context of COVID, it didn't change much, really. I mean, it was Mickey and I were very forthcoming about not seeing anybody and kind of being, when we were going to get together, they had that little 2-week break, and it was important for us all to make sure that we were looking after each other's safety, which we did, and so that made it so that when we did get to work together, we were able to do it in a more relaxed situation. And everybody who came to the party respected that, and it was really, really, really cool that they did. But on the whole, because we just recorded it here, 80% of it here in my home, it didn't really change much. So
there you go. There you go. Let's move on to track 10, Propinquity.
I've
I'm seeing some pride in your eyes that you're rightfully proud of this entire album. But this particular track, I saw a light behind your eyes that I haven't seen on some of the other tracks. Is there something special about this track to you?
I'm actually thinking about a couple of different things because there is one element of pride. For me personally, in that the lead guitar that you hear on there was played top to bottom, first take, one take. So all picked it up and shot from the hip, and that's what you hear. So that's cool, and I like to give myself a little pat on the head.
Rightfully.
But what I was actually reacting to was I saw people respond to the banjo in there, and they immediately thought of Peter. And it is not that it wasn't it was not Peter, but for the last 3 years, one of the things that Nez has loved is this Mumford and Sons track. He's just like, which is sort of this modern country, and the banjo really sticks out, and it does that same role that it does in this song. And what's the song off of Headquarters that Andrew? What you told me? Yeah. So it was. When I put it on here, I was thinking more about going, Nez is really going to like this because he loves Mumford and Sons. That's what I was thinking about. And then lastly, I wanted, there's not a lot of country going on this record. And of course, Nez's home base is country and blues. Yeah. And so I wanted to give it a little nod to that, but and I had to be so careful because I really got to tell you, I could go off on how much I don't like modern country, but because really it's in so many cases it's just Def Leppard with fiddles,
Mm-hmm.
But there's some aspect of it being true to a very straight rock and roll part of what country is, and so I wanted to bring that about, and so I was actually when maybe the smirk on my face that you saw, Tim, was that I was thinking about Def Leppard with fiddles.
I'll buy that because the juxtaposition of that rolling banjo and that smoking guitar solo, and how they kind of trade the front of the mix was like, oh, this is really interesting what you're doing. And then I keep getting lost in the drums because the drums just kick my ass all the way through.
Nothing like a good 4 on the floor groove, right?
Man, that's the truth.
It's probably, I have to say, it's probably my favorite on the whole album. And I was toying about making that the sort of main track on the single, but then I was told by somebody at the BBC that 4 minutes 45 might be too long for a lead single. But I really loved the track, and I loved the sort of and it's got the sort of power pop, like almost like a Jeff Lynne type of sound to it, in my opinion, which I really love.
Well, yeah, that you really nailed it with that, Glenn. Is that Jeff Lynne has a style of having these very straight ahead acoustic guitars, Jenga, 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 all just like relentless, and it creates not only a bed of chords, but it also creates a rhythmic aspect almost akin to tambourines. And that's a very famous Jeff Lynne approach, is to use the high end of a stacked batch of acoustic guitars. So that is very astute of you, Glenn. That's exactly what I was doing.
So much good stuff. All right, we are on. We're about to move to track 11. We've got 4 more tracks. Yeah. So thanks everybody for sticking around. I'm glad you're all having fun. I'm having a ball, and it looks like everybody else is too.
Yeah.
So let's rock and roll. Tapioca Tundra.
and verse, some prose or rhyme, lose themselves in other times, and waiting hopes cast silent spells that speak in clouded clues. It cannot be a part of me, for now it's part of you. Sunshine, ragtime blowing in the breeze. Midnight looks right, standing more at ease. Careful plays on fields that seem to vanish when they're in between. Softly as I walk away in freshly tattered shoes, it cannot be a part of me, for now it's part of you. Sunshine, ragtime blowing in the
Watching the chat window and watching everyone pick up these Easter eggs that we were talking about before we went live, Christian, and everybody's like, "Oh, that sounds like that. That sounds like that. That sounds like that. That sounds," and it ends up being just such a beautiful collection of parts, and the it's cliche to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. The song
Well, if
is
somebody
great.
doesn't recognize that I'm a fan of Queen after listening to that song, they're never going to.
Right.
That's stuff that's right off of Night at the Opera and tributes to Freddie, and having that dance of 2 and 3 different background vocal sets all playing against each other. I also really like the way that it goes from a waltz to a straight 4-time, back and forth, back and forth. So yeah, that's one of my favorite tracks on there. And everybody caught the saw. That's Janine Ray Heller playing actual saw at the beginning of that. So that's cool.
I remember Christian asked me, "How do you feel about having a musical saw on there?" I didn't know what to say, but I thought, let's give it a go.
Wow.
And I have to say, thank you, Cersei, for the backing vocals here. Absolutely amazing on this track in particular.
Yeah, there's tons of Cersei on that bit.
That's my pleasure. I'm happy to be involved. That's probably my favorite song on the whole kit and caboodle. I like the old timey stuff.
It's so much fun and legit ragtime piano.
Yeah.
Jim Cox again.
Yeah.
Showing up.
When we were on tour with First National Band, when he would take a solo, I would often forget where I was in the song. Like,
yeah,
because he's so amazing. Like, he just gets so wrapped up in his musicianship. It's incredible.
It's interesting. I would hope that that I'd be able to play this while Mickey is here, because this is a song legitimately written about. If I remember right, this song was inspired by or written about the Hawaii concert, the Monkees Hawaiian concert.
Oh, really?
That's what I understand. And
Andrew would know that better than anybody.
And I think Andrew took off. That if I remember right, the story I heard on stage at the Pantages show a couple years ago is Nes came out and did his solo and said, I wrote this in the hotel room in Hawaii the night we got off stage. And I thought, okay, interesting. And then he did that glorious acoustic or solo version, just him and his 12-string.
Yeah.
And it was neat to look around and see everybody crying while he was playing it. But yeah, and so I wonder if Mickey even knew that, because you guys were there and you didn't know that, or you didn't hear it, or you didn't. I don't know.
We're talking about Tapioca, right?
Yeah, we're talking about Tapioca.
I don't know. You know, as Mickey said earlier, he stayed out of a lot of it. You know, I think that he really relished the idea of just being a singer, and so it's quite possible that even the significance of the lyrics on it. You know, well, I mean, you look at Nez's lyrics and like, what the hell does that mean? You know? So, but and there's some because he can be poetic and he can be cryptic and he, you know, so what he's really talking about is hidden underneath a couple of layers of poetry there. I don't know how much Mickey did think about that. You know, obviously he's been hearing it in one rendition or another for, you know, decades. So I thought, you know, he kind of just came in and did his bid.
No, I was delighted.
Well, he felt he was too close to the music, and he was afraid of being tied down into sort of previous versions of a song or something else. So he decided to stay back and just come in and do the vocals.
Yeah, this is very much an artist's album. I mean, it's not, you know, like Mickey said, it's not a karaoke album. Everything is at once removed and respectful to its source material, and you know, man, every hit is a home run.
Well, I thank first of all, thank you, Tim, for saying that. But to that mindset, I just want to say that I've always had the approach that I'm not going to pander. Right, you know, I'm not going to go and chase down the flavor of the month. But that said, I was sharing this with a friend just yesterday, as a matter of fact, and it's a quote from Flea, the bass player from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he said, and I heard this a long time ago. He said, "I want to make music that makes me feel like I did when I was listening to music at 16 years old."
Yeah.
You know, that newness, that excitement. And so regardless of whatever I'm chasing down style wise, I just want to make it fun and good or engaging or moving or emotional or you know, I just it has nothing to do with being commercial or trying to chase down somebody's approval or you know, except if I get my own approval, then I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get everybody else's because I'm listening to it in such a way that I want to be a fan of it. I want to enjoy it. And I go back and I listen to my own music. I'm continually listening to this record for enjoyment, you know, just because like that was fun. I enjoyed putting that together and Mickey really sang great and all those people played and all the stuff that came together. And it's just fun to listen to and for no other reason but that.
Man, and that's the joy of listening to this record, and what I was trying to get across while we were talking before everything started is finding all those little homages and Easter eggs and influences and little just tips of the hat that you snuck in all over the place. And I'm like, oh man, and every time I play this record, I'm like, oh, there's something I didn't hear before. You know, and I'd imagine that's going to happen for a while. So
I hope so, because that's one of the methods. You know, there's all kinds of things hidden in there.
Man, and there really are. So I got to ask everybody here: if you haven't purchased this record already, why haven't you? We will wait while you go to MickeyDolenz.com or 7a.com or wherever Glenn tells you to buy this record. And man, come on. Have you not heard enough? What does it take?
5.
Uh-oh.
What's happening?
That's okay.
All right. Let's head over to Only Bound.
Only
Ryan in the chat window who said that the bass playing in this is phenomenal, and it really does. It really it
Thank
doesn't
you.
take. Yeah, it's amazing, and everybody's pointing out the Porpoise song homage, but there's so much more to it than that, man.
Well, this one is special for a couple of reasons. One, it's about my mother.
Right.
So as many Nez songs are, but this one particularly I love because there are several songs that are kind of breakup songs about my mother, but I love that this one is an homage to their love, and that's nice to hear. So, and if you know the song, the original one is a waltz. It's a like kind of a cowboy lullaby, prairie lullaby, boom, jagga jagga boom, jagga jagga boom, right? Which makes perfect sense for Nez's country background. So it made sense to see if this worked in sort of a straight four approach, and clearly it did. And so it also has a thing in it that I really love, which is an outro.
Yeah.
A specific outro, which is actually, Nez did the same thing, except it was Red Rhodes who sort of went off in the spacey trip, and that's what happened on the original. Now I'm going to ask you a favor, Tim,
Sure.
and not play the very next song. Just a little guy, and only because the very next song is only a minute long or so, and it is connected to the end of this song as a segue. And so let's not give away that, so that at least one thing that they can look forward to here, one surprise.
Oh, there's so many surprises in this album, Christian. But I would be delighted to honor your request and go right into Grand Ennui.
Hang on, Tim. I just want to say I've had the benefit of having this album playing in my car since before Christmas, and I really look forward to sharing it with everybody, but I couldn't until now. And this is one of the tracks. Only Bound is one of the tracks that I keep returning to. For some reason, I got lots of favorites on the album, but there are certain tracks that I always come back to, and this is probably the one I come back to the most. And I don't know why. I just love it, and there's a little almost like a Beatles "Free as a Bird" type of segment in there as well, if you know what I'm talking about, where you got his radio voice again, Christian, going into that part. I think that's
also on that song. That's all Mickey on vocals. So any stacks and stuff, it's just, we were talking about Walla Cersei. Well, that's Walla Mickey, so.
That's awesome. I'm glad you brought up that so many of Nez's songs are about your mom, and that this song is so sweet, right? And that you were glad that it was there. Knowing that so many of these songs are personal and really about a life that you were center stage in, man.
Yeah.
Was there, how much extra effort was it for you to look at it like an artist instead of something so personal? Because there's so many of the songs in Nez's catalog that quite literally have your DNA in them, dude.
Yeah, a fair bit, but I also have the benefit of hearing these and being used to these songs for decades. So it wasn't that I was like immediately overwhelmed with emotion because of oh my God, this song. However, there were certain elements and here and there, because I was forced to take the hardest look that I ever have at these songs. So to kind of crawl inside the lyrics and crawl inside the melodies and see where he was at the time when he released them, and there's a lot of that. So, but I'm not saying I'm not sitting around doing anything.
And that's
that.
not what I'm asking. I wondered if there was a little extra effort. Did you learn anything about Nez's songwriting in this? Because when you look at something so granular,
Well, I've had to look at it in hard detail before, having toured
Right.
you know, the songs, and so having to learn how to play and looking inside of that. But what I did learn, I think, is that particularly this era from 65 to 80, you know, which is pretty much where most of these songs came from.
Right.
There is a skill in the songwriting that make them user friendly, as I said before, that they are universal, and they are able to be reinterpreted very easily. Some of the later stuff, when he starts getting into Photon Wing and Infinite Rider and Tropical Campfires, this starts becoming very, very personal artistic representation for him. And so the production behind those songs becomes a little bit more narrow. Not to say that it's any less, but it is it becomes more personal. And so to try and pull it away from what his very specific artistic intent was a little more difficult. And so that's why we sort of gravitated towards this era of songs. But it just happened to be where he was at as a songwriter. You know, it's like, wow, great hook, great chorus, great, great, you know, great. Okay, we're in. Let's do it.
It's good songs, and man, like I've said this before, but for those of you who haven't pre-ordered, there's so much good stuff in this album. This is a headphones album, but it's also a play it as loud as you can through the biggest.
It sounds good loud.
Yeah, it sounds really good loud, man. It sounds really good loud. I've played it on through like 8 different sets of speakers, loud as can be, and oh man, this record sounds good loud. All right,
if I'm allowed, I just want to do a quick advert and say that it's released in 3 different formats: on vinyl, on CD, and digital. And the vinyl is pressed on 180-gram turquoise colored vinyl and comes in a gatefold sleeve. And inside the gatefold sleeve, you got sleeve notes, not the same sleeve notes, liner notes as in the CD, because we don't have 36 pages on the vinyl, but different liner notes. And on the CD comes with a 36-page color booklet, and it's got the lyrics to all of the songs, and it's got liner notes by Mickey and Mark Kleiner and by Christian.
And by you.
It comes out next Friday on the 21st, and you can get it from a variety of places: mickeydolenz.com and deepdiscount.com and Amazon.
Haven't ordered it already.
I want to
message me and tell me why not. Jody?
I want to just make clear. So Grand Ennui is only available on the CD version, correct?
That's correct. Yes. Yeah.
So if somebody, now also one of the things that I really was excited about is all the words are in the CD packaging also, because I've been singing all the wrong words this entire time. So I know it sounds really, it might sound silly to pick up if you decided to buy both, but both of they're similar, but they're not the same, you know, the CD versus the album. So I just want to, and if you want to get something autographed, one of them autographed, maybe by Mickey, and then order another one at one of the less expensive websites, that probably would be a really, you know, great way to go. But I want to just make clear that Grand Ennui is only on the CD. And Christian, I got to tell you, I had never actually heard Grand Ennui because I wasn't a huge follower of First National Band stuff. And the first time I heard it was when you did the Live at the Troubadour record. And it instantly became by far my favorite song ever of Nez, because it was phenomenal. But then when I heard that this was going to be the re-release or the release, I went to Glenn and I said, I got the original, can I hear Grand Ennui? That's the only song I'm like dying to hear. And you did it again. I just have no idea, but congratulations.
Thank you for pointing that out, Jody. This was the hardest song on the record. And the reason why it was the hardest song on the record is because there have been 6, 7 recorded versions of this song, not studio wise, but live. So each time, you have the original First National Band, but then there's Live at the Palais, there's Movies of the Mind, there's 2 others within there. I think that maybe even did it. God, I don't know. There's Live at the Troubadour. There's all the ones that are that different versions, and each time it's been played, it has been reimagined. So there's a different groove, a different lick, a different way of coming at it, and so to find yet one more way to go about doing this song was really, really hard. But I think we did it justice. We've got the great Christopher Alice and Jim Cox lending their skills, and it was fun approaching this with the slide guitar, and so have at this was a tough one.
30 years in radio, I can't introduce a song better. Here you go.
Thank you.
Man, the piano in there carries that through. I mean, again, like every other track, there's so much good stuff in there, but the keep the piano right up front is so Chuck Berry, Johnny Johnston, if you don't mind me saying so. And I loved hearing.
Well,
it.
yeah, Well, I mean, Jim Cox is a master. I mean, he can play anything, so he knew exactly what to play when he came in. And also, this one definitely deserves a big nod to Mickey because uh, in this particular song, Nez, this is pure Nez's wheelhouse. I mean, you know, everybody kind of, you know, you think about Nez the monkey and you think about Nez the country guy, but you have to know that Nez's biggest influence is Texas blues, right?
Bo
Bo
Diddley, yeah.
Diddley. It's ancient ZZ Top and Johnny Winter, and that's you know, that has so much to do with who he is as an artist. And thank God he gave some of that to me. You know, I'm just so grateful that I got that. So somebody said, somebody said, you know, so funky. Pammy said that, and you know, thank you because thank you. I see you, Pammy. That's pure Nez, and that was the only. What?
Somebody
Be nice now.
She wasn't on mute.
Anyway, yeah, that's where that was. But for Mickey to walk in and sing something that is so typically Nez, and give it all the soul and power and blues that Nez has so many times, big shoes to fill and filled very well.
And again, I have to say, Jim Cox just nailed it, didn't he? And that's right.
You think?
So much.
Yeah.
All right. So this album, I mean, you all stuck around the entire time. We have as many people at the top of this call as at the bottom of this call as we did at the top of this call. So that tells me that this is a resounding success, and you guys love it. Christian, thank you so much for this awesome work, and man, this is so much fun. It's Christmas every listen. There's always something new. So again, if you haven't bought it, why not? We've already talked about where you can get it. Jody, let's see the shirt one more time. Where can you get it?
MickeyDolenz.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
And MickeyDolenz.com is the place to get the autographed album. It's available wherever you can buy music because Glenn has done a great job making sure that it's in the right place at the right time. It's coming out on time. I've heard every track all the way through, and I can't tell you how much I love this album. Glenn, anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
Well, I just really once again say thank you to Christian and Cersei for putting this album together, and I just think you've done an outstanding job.
Well, I'm so glad that you guys are liking it, and just be ready because shameless plug, Cersei and I are about to drop another album that we did during the COVID prog rock. What? Yes, that's right, a full-on prog rock record. Anyway, that's it. No more shameless plugging.
But I think Glenn should get a round of applause
yes,
for
Glenn
continuing to pursue this important music that we all love so much, that's been such a part of so many lives for so many generations now, that it's guys like that and labels like 7A that are keeping this music alive and allowing artists to hear great music and put out great music and give it to the people that really still want to hear it, and new people and young people too. That's really important. So thank you, Glenn and 7A.
Thank you.
Cersei, that's exactly what I was going to say. Glenn, like, people don't realize that just because you have a record label that you're rolling in dough. And I know how much sweat and everything that you put into all this stuff. And the fact that you're a fan, giving the fans exactly what they want. I hope that if you haven't checked out, not just this album, but 7A Records has somewhere around 12 monkey solo projects. Peter, Mickey, Mike, and Davey all are under the 7A umbrella with these beautiful never released songs or reinvented songs. And you should check out 7A records.com because Glenn really is keeping them alive for us. And so it's our job to keep this alive for Glenn as
Well,
well.
thank you. I mean, basically, any money we make goes into making the next album. So I mean, it's not like I take out and sit and smoke cigars with my feet on my desk or anything like that. It goes into the next album. So I'm hoping if I can recoup on this one, make a little bit of money, I can release another Mickey album or another Monkeys related album. That's the way it works.
And our job right now, everybody that's still on here, we're going to put this on YouTube, but if you wouldn't mind, the Monkeys, very much like Kiss, I think is a fan-driven project at this point, and probably for the last couple of decades. It's our job as the fans to make sure every other fan knows that this exists, because we're the ones that are going to continue that Monkeys legacy. So if we could all do our jobs, it's going to be great for people like Glenn and Cersei and Christian and Mickey to be able to say, yeah, Glenn, no problem. We're on for the next one. So that's what we have to do as a community. Okay.
And I want to say that I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody at the shows coming up.
Yay!
And please, 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 if you haven't already, get vaccinated so we can all hang out and just do the right thing and be safe and have fun. So, and give each other hugs.
Yeah.
And not worry about giving each other hugs. So get vaxxed and come to the show.
All right. And on that note, I'm vaxxed. I'll see you guys in St. Louis and probably LA. So, guys, this couldn't have gone better. Thank you, everybody. Glenn, Christian, Cersei, Jody, Kevin.
Thank
Andrew.
you, Tim, for keeping this whole thing going. I mean, you're a voiceover actor. You do a really good job as the host. So thank you so much for keeping this flowing and playing the music and all that fun stuff.
Thank you, Jody and Tim.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for putting this.
All right, guys.
Stay safe, everybody. Enjoy. Go get your t-shirts, get your records, and please share with the whole wide world this new Dolenz Sings Nesmith album so that we can get the next one out there. Maybe it'll be Dolenz Sings Torque. Who knows?
Who knows? We'll see.
Well,
for the
I do.
7A listening party. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so
Bye,
much, everybody.
everybody.
Thank you.
Love.
Bye-bye.
In Detroit.